All right, guys, the first test in our bike body performance assessment is our single leg squat test. So pretty straightforward. All you need is some space and you. All right, so you take your full body, you're standing here, single leg, meaning you're actually gonna get on one leg. So to start off, start by just standing on one leg, kind of like knee locked out and stand there. We'll start with, can you even just balance on one leg? Kind of bring this leg up and hold it. So we start there. That's okay. We can balance on one leg. Good job. Good start. The squat test part, I want you to put the leg back behind you. And this is like, my left leg. We want to assess, can you go up and down? So we'll go down, slow and slow, control, and then back up, just like that. Okay, so every one of these is, okay, we're kind of going to grade ourselves as a good, like, good job, you can do it, you're awesome. Fair, which is like, fair job, you survived. It wasn't good, but you survived. And then like poor, meaning like, we got a lot of work to do, but that's great. That's just opportunity to make yourselves more powerful, indestructible bike riders. Okay, so single leg squat test, standing on one leg, slowly go down. I gotta look real good for you on this one. I gotta show off here, but that's a good one. And what we're looking for is a couple things, okay? The first thing about here at your pelvis, your hip level, you kind of draw, it may be like two dots, like where your fingers are, kind of the front of your hip bones, okay? So kind of like if you were to flex your legs up, you kind of feel a muscle pulling right on the front there. Those are our two spots. As you start to go down, those need to stay nice and level. If they start to drop, see this one goes low, or you start going high, or they start getting off as you go down, they don't stay level, okay? That's good. If they start to fall, that's fair. It means we're lacking some control at the hip here, because you see the hip drops. I kind of like curtsy myself to the side, okay? Poor is like they just completely fall and you fall over. So good, nice and level. Fair, they drop a little bit, but you can still achieve the single leg squat. Poor is, as you start to go, you just can't even do it. You fall on the ground. Like, be safe, but catch yourself. Okay, so looking at the pelvis. So next would be at the hip. So from the side view, we're kind of looking in a mirror. What we want to see when we do our single leg squat is actually what's called a hip hinge. Meaning, just like a door hinge kind of rotates around one axis of rotation, through our hips, you want to actually hinge back as you go down. All right, a lot of you will do this like really, like almost like you're doing a limbo. You're like no bending at the hip at all. You're just going down. It's like, oh, I can't do it. I want to see a hinge at the hip as you go down, because that's going to fire up this glute a lot more and give you a test or an assessment of how well you can stabilize at the hip, okay? So second thing is look at the hip. So a good would be you can really bend at that hip and you control it and you own it, just like I do. A fair would be like you kind of bend, but you have difficulty coordinating, keeping this part of your body separate. You like flex at the spine. It's just kind of awkward. It's kind of like that. And a poor would be you just can't even do it and you fall over. All right, so good, hinging at the hip. Fair, difficulty kind of keeping your chest up and moving at the hip. You kind of like slump the spine. And poor would be you just can't even achieve that at all, and it's beyond your ability yet, okay? So the next thing we look at is down at the knee. All right, this is going to be where a lot of our problems as bike riders come with knee pain. We want to look at, with the single leg squat test, the lateral or left-right movement of that knee. So if I'm here and I start to go down, a good would be that sucker looks straight up and down. Like, let me look real good for you. Goes up and down like no real problems, no shaking side to side. Fair would be, as I start to go down, it's like, oh God, I can't control it. But you still don't fall over. It's just, it's a bit wobbly, it's unstable, it's indicative of you every time you pedal, that knee kind of wobbles up and down. You look down, you see that knee wobble over the pedal stroke. You almost hit the top tube, or sometimes you hit the top tube sometimes with every bike you're on. That's the fair, like, oh wow, I just can't control that at all. A poor is, as we go down, it dives across the middle and never recovers. Like you cannot keep it over here straight. It goes across midline, you're like, oh, where are you going? And you just cannot bring it back. That's a poor, all right? So good, we wanna see my knee tracks straight up and down. We look amazing. We own and control the lateral movement of that knee. Fair, it's a little shaky. It's a fair job. You have some work to put in, but you know, you're on your way. And poor is like, oh my goodness, it just keeps going that way and you cannot control it at all and you fall over, okay? The last thing we look at all the way down at the ankle, that's right here at the foot, we want to see from the side view, if you start to do the single leg squat test, that you see the lower part of your leg, like the tibia, which is the big one, and your fibula over here. You want to see that progress over that way to a certain degree, almost like even with your toe, okay? So as I kind of go down, you see it goes basically even with my toe. I can control this here. That means I have enough ankle mobility, meaning my ankle moves enough that I'm able to tolerate the pedaling motion. There's no point trying to pedal fast or strong if your joints, the ankle, the knee, and the hip, don't even have what's called the range of motion or the capacity to even tolerate that pedal stroke. So from the side, at the ankle, if it can go forward and you have all the line, the knee bends, the hip bends, you look good and you control that, fantastic, you're good. Fair would be it starts to go forward and it kind of gets stuck. Whether the ankle joint feels like it's stuck or like your calf's real tight, it just won't go any further. That's kind of like a fair. It's like, it stops and then you have to like kind of work around it with your knee or something. It feels like it's jammed up. Poor is like, it just doesn't move. And as you start to squat down, you fall back. But don't worry, we're gonna work on that. So that is the single leg squat test, part 1 of 5 for the Bike Body Performance Assessment.